County. We have been appointed by the county commissioners to hear any and all taxpayers with respect to concerns or complaints regarding the valuation of the property for tax purposes. Property owners appearing before the Board of Equalization and Review have the right to a fair and equitable hearing. The Board of Equalization and Review has been charged with ensuring that the proper legal principles have been applied in a valuation dispute for tax purposes. The format of the hearing is the clerk calls the case and locates the property or explains the situation. The appellant presents his or her case. The assessor's office offers their defense. Both parties will be given the opportunity to review or conclude their comments. Any questions from either party should be directed to the chairman. The board will rule on the case or table it and inform the taxpayer when it will be reopened. The taxpayer will be notified in writing of the board's decision. By statute, the burden of proof is on the taxpayer to demonstrate the assessment is erroneous. Please silence your cell phones. Are there any questions? And if not, let's get started with the proceedings. Mr. Thomas?
Did you want me to call it?
You can, go ahead, go right ahead.
Okay.
If you want to do it, let's give her part.
Sorry about that. I just wanted to state that hearing number 1 on your agenda, Chick-fil-A, has been rescheduled to June 11th? Yeah. So then hearing number 2, which is multiple parcels, the first one being 070210002A. Parcel number 2 is 070210006. And parcel number 3, 070120008. The property owner is Mr. Thomas, and he's here to present. Thank you, Randy.
Well, thank you, Robert.
All
Mr.
right.
Thomas, please come up.
Come on up.
All right, if I just stand right here?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Just to introduce myself, first off, I don't wear glasses regular, so I'm gonna wear them today just so I'm safe. But my name's Garen Thomas. I grew up in Peachland, lived there until I went on to college. Then I currently reside in Huntersville. My mother, Linda Thomas, worked in Union County in the banking business for 40-plus years.
I work with her.
I did too.
She told me, she said, I think there's a couple of guys that I work with, don't hold that against me. I think I've met you, Doug,
We did,
before,
yep.
On a couple of occasions, but, she did speak highly of both of you, but, first
I'm
off.
surprised, aren't you, Randy?
I am really surprised. Yeah, we fooled her.
She said Randy was a jokester. She was trying to remember some kind of joke.
I'm real serious now.
But anyway, just first off, on my brother's behalf, he was not able to come. He lives in Winston-Salem and had another commitment. But on his behalf and mine, I just want to thank you for allowing me to come and just share our thoughts on our property. And I just also want to say that it's been a pleasure to work with Brent. Just met him for the first time, but I've talked with him several times on the phone, and has been very helpful and kind of hearing me out and explaining what has been done today. But I'm just going to kind of use my notes. Unfortunately, I'm here because my family property was negatively affected by the Monroe bypass. We currently no longer have, it's currently landlocked and no access. I've made just a few bullet points that I'm just going to kind of go down, no particular order, but just to kind of share what I would like to see done or evaluated. We're making an appeal on the grounds that the property has been appraised at a figure in excess of true value of money, per the letter that we received with some of the things that would allow us to appeal. Due to our land being landlocked as a result of the NCDO taking for the Monroe bypass, we would like to request that the current total value of all 3 parcels be further reduced. Bullet 3, the total market value of all 3 parcels as of January 1st, 2015 for the county assessor was $240,700. Again, that's the combination of all 3 parcels. We realize that adjustments have been made on 2 occasions since that date, but feel the assessed value is still too high based on our NCDOT appraisal that we received when dealing with the state when they took our property, so to speak. We have an appraisal from the DOT which I've submitted, dated 2/4/15, that values all three parcels at $54,500. So at this point, I did submit pages from the NCDOT appraisal. I just want to highlight a few things, just so we're all on the same page, if that's okay. And I've been told that everyone has that, but the appraisal naturally was 100 and some pages. I'm submitting the documentation that describes the remainder that we were left with, which was approximately 12.323 something acres. On page 68, I'll give you a chance to get to that, which would be the first page that I submitted. And it's titled Description of Remainder and Effects of the Acquisition. As we go through a few of these things, anything that's in yellow, I've highlighted. And these are just the things that I'm going to just touch on briefly. But if you'll notice, I did make one comment. Under land in the first paragraph, last sentence, it says the availability of utilities to the remainder is assumed to be the same as before the taking. I just wanted to note that did not happen. We currently have no utilities at the property. I don't want to go into all the details, but I'll just share that it was based on a miscommunication between the NCDOT and the Union County Utilities Agencies. There was a miscommunication about if we would be left with the 12.2 acres and would be left with the house or not. The state said we would not have the house, but we still have the house in our property. So I just wanted to clarify that there are no utilities as it says here.
Now, you have utilities to the property, right?
Excuse me?
You do have utilities
I
that,
do not.
there's no water, I mean, water, sewer, electricity,
No water, sewer,
nothing?
Electricity.
Okay, go, carry on, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. The effects of the acquisition, at the bottom, note that as a result of taking, the subject's access from North Rocky River Road will be eliminated as the remainder's entire road frontage is within a legal controlled access. It is our opinion, the NCDOT, that the loss of access will have an adverse effect of the value of the land after taking and remaining site improvements. So technically, I have no access. The only way I can currently get onto my property is off of a neighboring driveway and then going onto the right-of-way, utilities right-of-way. If you will turn, let's see. So make sure I printed front and back. So on page 72, at the top, it just shows the value of the remaining land as they've appraised it at $54,550. Damages, I just wanted to note again, in the opinion of the NCDOT, all remaining building and site improvements will be completely damaged after the taking as they no longer contribute value to the site. At the bottom, as you'll see, they put a value on the site improvements, which basically is the house, of the $115,875, but due to the property being landlocked and no access, they determined that the value of the house itself is zero. Then page 73 just finalizes everything again, shows the value after taking of $54,550, value of improvements after zero, which are total. And then just attached, I've given the appraiser who did that. Any questions on that before I
Gentlemen, you got any questions?
go forward?
So Integra did the appraisal for the family, or
No, for the NCDOT.
that was for the
That was
NCD?
their
Okay,
appraisal,
okay,
yes.
okay. I don't have any other questions.
Ray, you got anything?
Yeah, on page 72, you just mentioned, there's, so I understand there's some buildings on there now, but after the highway project's completed, they're saying it's worthless.
Correct. There is a house that
Yes.
we had rented, which I was gonna touch on here in a bit, but there is currently a house of about just under 1,500 square feet. But because of no access, they're deeming that the value of the house is zero.
But the house will still be there,
The house is currently still there now.
but once the road is done, you're not gonna completely demolish the house, right? It's still gonna be there.
Correct.
So on the basis of the road, they're saying it has zero value? The
On
house,
the basis of myself or nobody being able to get to it, they're saying it can't be used for any purpose, so they're
Okay.
valuing it at zero.
thank you.
Mike, you got anything? Mark?
The access problem that you're talking about, have you even tried to look and talking to your neighbors to get access, or there's none to be had at all?
I have talked with the neighbor kind of shortly after this happened. Initially, I thought I was gonna be able to do that, but now, because he wants to potentially sell his property, at this point, he's not willing to give me
Access.
access or let me buy part of that right away.
But he's trying to sell his property now. Is that what you're?
He is not. He thinks he can sell it for commercial.
Sure.
So he's thinking about putting, he has the property between ours and, not our vendors, but Ivan Seekers.
Mhm. Okay, I don't have any more
Yeah.
questions.
A few more, just.
Sure, go ahead.
To finish up, so prior to 2015, as I just mentioned, we were renting the house. Since then, we haven't been able to rent it, naturally can't live there. So therefore, we don't benefit from any of the county services that we're paying taxes for. We just feel that over the past 5 years, that our property has still been overvalued based on, what we see from the state appraisal. Just in closing, my brother and I, we both realize we should pay taxes on the property. However, the property is now completely different than it was at the last county appraisal in 2015. So taking into account that our property has been physically changed and is now landlocked with no utilities, we just ask that you reduce our current tax values of all 3 parcels combined. So that's,
What's the current use of you got 12 acres, I believe you said,
yes.
total? Is any of them being farmed or anything?
No.
Okay.
No.
Garen, I had one other question too. When you mentioned the utilities,
Yes.
I know you don't have utilities connected there now. Can they just not be connected now because of the lack of access, or can utilities actually be?
It's kind of sticky, so
Yeah.
I made some calls, because I was
Yeah.
not happy with what happened.
Yeah.
So I was told, from the electric side, it's pretty easy to run back from the pole out in front of our property back to the house.
Right.
I think that can be done easily. Sewer and water is where I was told pretty much it ain't gonna happen, because they stopped the sewer at my neighboring property, and I was told, and I've got some email but I was told I was gonna have to pay to have some kind of gravity feed and get an easement off of his water and sewer to get back to my house, and it was looking at several $1,000s to do that.
And was it on city or county water and sewer before?
Before, yes.
Okay.
So what happened, the utility, I don't know what you call it, the meter, so
Right.
to speak, that was on our property was within the 3 some odd acres that the state took.
Right, okay.
So they pulled all that out. I still have the lines running to the house,
Right,
but there's several hundred yards between where the old meter was and now where it stops.
where you'd have to connect to it. Okay. Yeah, thanks for clarifying that.
That's what I
Yeah.
What kind of restitution did you get from the highway department for the property?
For the property as a whole,
Now, they bought part of your property, right?
they did. They bought, naturally, we negotiated a price for the 3 point whatever acres that they were gonna take. And then they offered to buy the remnant for what they determined is $54,550, but family property, a lot of sentimental reasons, there's a 2-acre pond there. We decided just to keep it, and that it was not worth what, we thought it was worth more to us than to sell that remnant to the state.
Randy, I got
Yeah, go, Mark, go ahead.
a question. On the 3.2 acres that you did sell to or the state took, how much did they pay for it?
The total, I don't remember an exact number, it was somewhere in the ballpark of 650,000,
For the 3 acres?
yes.
No other questions.
Have you thought about what happens if, your neighboring property that's letting you access his property to get yours now, sells his property, and and your new neighbor says you can't cross my property? Have you got another way to get to it or not, other than by helicopter, or?
That's the only access at this point. I mean, there's farmland behind us, you've got that property adjuts to the assisted living, that's off of Secret Shortcut.
Well, I'm assuming you don't want to sell it anyway, it sounds like, right? I mean, if a neighboring property, if somebody, let's say from the north wanted to buy your property that would have access to it, you're not going to entertain a
Oh,
reasonable?
no, I'm not saying we wouldn't entertain, if our property would benefit combining some properties, yes, we would listen.
Okay.
Right.
Yes, sir, Ray?
How much, if someone offered you to buy those 3 parcels today, how much would you take?
I honestly don't know.
You
We
don't know.
haven't talked about it. I'm sorry, I don't have a, I don't know.
But look at it, another question, on the map here, with the 3 parcels, it shows Rocky River, and then the red lines, I guess, I don't know, what do they indicate?
Those are the parcel lines.
Those are parcel lines? Okay, so there's one house, it says only access point, is that the neighbor you're talking about?
Yes, where it says only access point, so between that red line and Rocky River Road,
Yeah,
that still technically is the state's, but they came back and paved him a
Okay.
driveway to connect back into his driveway.
where's the building on your 3 lots on the map?
It would be to the right of the pond.
It's on one of those 3 parcels, right?
Yes, it would be on the parcel, well,
What page is that?
it's on the parcel with the
Do
pond.
they have a page number?
Okay,
Yeah,
It's
okay,
close-
thank you.
Close to
so that parcel
Right in
is
the
just
back.
over 8 acres.
Yeah,
about the
thanks.
2/3 page from the back of that tab.
So I'm gonna ask again, you sold 3.2 acres to the state for how much?
Just right in front of town.
Again, it was roughly $650,000.
And all they got
Back
was
in. Oh, I'm sorry.
some raw land, and they didn't get any buildings or anything?
No, but that was consistent with the other properties along,
Oh, I'm sure of it, I'm sure of it. So the property that you have left over, 3 parcels at 13 acres, that you can't get access to unless you get your neighboring
Sure.
to provide, and they're interested in selling, did they sell some of their parcel too? Did they have to give up some of their land too?
they did, they had to give up again, not as much, but similar, less
Couple
than an
acres.
acre of each.
Okay,
One person owns the next 2 parcels between us and Ivan Seekers.
okay,
And both of those houses are, currently being rented.
okay. Ivan Secrets is to the left, correct? Looking at,
To the left of our pond, yes, if you're
Yes.
looking at that now.
and then that's one, it's like an L shape kinda, is one of your parcels. The other one with the little house in the middle of it, is that your parcel? Or is it?
Yeah, so we have the parcel with the pond, we have the parcel in front of the pond, and then the narrow
This one?
parcel that's to the right of the pond.
So, yeah, but that's not yours.
That's his pond.
That is your pond?
Yes,
Okay.
So just continuing what Mark was saying earlier, the 3 parcels that, or the 3 acres you sold, where are they on this map?
The whole frontage of Rocky River Road, if you look at the,
That frontage piece?
yes,
Okay. 600,000?
so all the way down to the bypass.
Wow. Okay, thank you.
But again, if you take the whole property, before all this happened, you know, naturally, property's sitting around there because you can't sell it. But the whole property was valued
Mhm.
on a per acre in excess of that.
So your neighbor that sold, you know, almost an acre or 2 acres of his property, he didn't lose any road frontage, is that what you're saying?
As it stands right now, he has his frontage.
Okay.
We were told that the access, that the guardrail now stops before you get to his driveway. When we negotiated all this, we were told that guardrail
Mhm.
would go all the way down. If you see the corner of the pond,
Yep.
see that little access?
Mhm. Yep, I do.
That was where we were told the access was gonna stop.
Okay.
So basically, my neighbor bought that property thinking he would still have access to his 2 houses, when now he has 2 access points, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So that's not right away there.
When you get that, it's right away, all the way to that entrance right in front of that pond, at the corner of the pond and Ivan Seekers.
Okay.
It's utility easement.
All right, any more questions? Ray, Dutch?
I'm good.
Mike? All right, we'll hear from the county. Thank you, Mr. Thomas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just in reference to the map, that Mr. Thomas was just speaking about. It's one I created just to show the access where the fence stops, right where that line's drawn. The only way he can actually get into his property is going through the neighbor's property. And when we looked at this, it was appealed in 16. And in 16, the 2 parcels, the 002A and 006, the one without the structures,
Mhm.
they were changed to no access and then given a 25% discount for the no access, on the land value. When we got the appeal this year, the more information came into about for the parcel ending in 008, the one with the house on it, with no utilities and everything. We changed that parcel, to no ability to build. And the actual living area on the dwelling, we changed to a utility shed, because there's still a structure on the property. So we did have a little bit of value contributed to it. So by changing the house to a utility shed, that dropped that structure value down to $11,600 left on the house. Just basically, since it's just for storage now, that nobody can live in it. There's no water, power, sewer, and hooked up to it. So we felt like this is all we could do on our level, because that's what was developed with the last reappraisal in 2015, just by giving them the no access and the 25% discount. And we do understand it's a weird situation, and that's why we came to.
What's the county's value on the 12 point some
For
acre?
all the parcels, all 3 of them, it's $84,800.
And he's saying it's 54, is that correct?
54,550 is what the DOT
Yeah,
did
I know
appraise.
it's, yeah, okay. But 84, okay.
What's the, take out the former dwelling, now storage shed, what's the value of the acreage?
If we take out the structure and just go take the land value, we would be around $73,200.
So you hadn't, okay.
So it's still about $18,000 or so different from what appraisals they provided with.
So you're saying it's worth, 6,000 acre tax value wise?
Yeah, with the house and everything, it's about $6,900 an acre is what we have it on.
Is that what you have with the neighbors next to him?
What?
Or do you have any more land values?
No, because
Without access?
they actually have access, his neighbor next to him.
And
So
I
it's-
tried to clarify my question, that does not have access. He's the only one
Yes, right in that area, he's the
on
only
the
one
whole
that-
bypass?
Well, just in that area. I
Oh.
mean, we don't have any sales since the bypass came through to see how it's
I was,
really.
I was
been.
more in line of what the county placed value on other land, not an actual sale.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
it would just be the rate per acre out there, but for the no access point of it, those are just rates developed in our 2015 reappraisal that, I mean, we're going off that, which I know the bypass came through and purchased stuff after them, so we don't have sales showing those figures.
Right.
So the difference in just the land only between the DOT appraisal and the county value,
That
it's like 73 and 54, about 19 grand.
Yeah.
$18,650.
And then on top of that with the county, you've got
We changed
For
the
the-
actual house to a
for the
utility shed.
improvements, right.
And it was just $11,600 for that, is what we just placed on. Since there was a structure left on the property, just contributed a little bit to it. And that's just being fair and equitable with everyone throughout Union County, because that's how we treat everybody that has no access. We give them the no ability to build and the 25% off for no access.
Ray, you got anything? Are you doing the math over there?
Yeah, I'm a little slower than
So,
some
Mike, you got
people.
anything? Mark?
No, sir.
So, just one question. The county's at 84, correct?
Yes, sir, right now, $84,800,
The taxpayers at 54,
54,500,
and without that building, be 73.
73,200.
But you say they're not gonna tear the building down, I don't think, was what he said earlier.
Currently, it's sitting out there and we just have it listed as a utility shed.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
All right, thank you, sir.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, we're gonna move on to tab number 3. The parcel number is 06201007A. The property owner is Refilled LLC, and this is a staff recommendation.
All right. Yes, sir.
All right, if you go up Ray Road and you pass Coles, where Tom Short connects with it, a little bit further past there, they've built several retail and office buildings and a frozen custard facility there. And this land is back behind all that, it's backland. And it has a pretty steep slope, it's, majority of it is in a floodway or flood zone, contains both. And so what, we originally had it at about 44.9 per acre, and the owner appealed it, and I gave them the same rate that we had given from a prior appeal. There's a daycare right before you get to this property, and it has the same, how they treated that rear property, I gave them the same thing that we did on the other. So now we went from 215 down to 121.1, which is still 25,300. The appellant originally asked for 0 because it's a retention pond on there. He says it's not worth anything, but it has value to the other pieces, because without it, you can't, those properties would be in violation of having a retention pond. So that's where we stand with that. You have any questions?
Any questions?
I don't.
I think I remember at some point, we had a discussion over those properties there. That, you know, it might have been the daycare people that came in and said,
It
you know, we
was.
had to upfit, you know, get that flood. Anyway, we made some changes then, did we not, to those properties along that road?
No,
We
no,
didn't?
we don't go in and wouldn't go, and if we found one, generally don't go in and change the other ones unless there is another appeal, or we haven't in the past.
Okay. But I noticed that those properties ended up being developed. Is that correct? you know,
Right, right. Well, this piece,
all right?
before it got divided, it's been subdivided since then. We actually heard this one too,
Okay,
when it was a larger chunk.
yeah,
But the front pieces got carved up, and Rayfield still owns one of them. They sold off the two others, or three. And so they still own the adjoining, but they own the front. This is in the back. But at the time when we heard that other appeal, yeah, we went in and we gave them pretty good reduction. And
so when they sold off that parcels, you know, those parcels you're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
did y'all get the sales price on those?
Yeah, we
How close were we to the land value on that?
I don't recall.
Can't recall?
I just don't.
Okay.
But basically, what we're given is a little bit identical to the daycare.
Okay. Make a motion, we approve the staff rep.
Here a second.
I'll second.
Dutch, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Like sign no? Thank you. All right.
All right, Mr. Chairman, we're back to hearing number 2 for deliberation.
All right.
I got a question for the county. The appraisal that Integra put together, were there any thoughts or concerns with what you saw in that appraisal?
It was just kind of, it wasn't the full appraisal, it was a snippet of just their breakdown, but, I mean, it was just, they were just going land value,
Right.
but.
And I'm trying to remember with the reval day and the date of the appraisal.
I think that's the challenge with that appraisal. That
Yeah.
appraisal date is after the reval date.
Yeah.
And so we have to kind of weigh that, am I, Phil, correct me if I'm wrong here, with the effective date of the appraisal being,
It was a February, 15. It was a very similar. I mean, technically, it was slightly after the reval date. It's definitely after the sales were used. Technically, no, we wouldn't look at it, but, you know, do we sneak a peek because it's pretty much the same time frame? Yeah.
Well, in unique circumstances
Yeah,
to a degree.
honestly, you know, this is just a problematic piece of land. You know, they developed a method, we developed a method. We were relatively close. I consider that a win, honestly. You know, I don't know if there's a right answer, you know, I think there's reasonable answers. I think we both have reasonable answers.
I know the firm does good work. They do a lot of work for us, and we hold their work in high regard.
I think the appraisal was probably fine. It's-
Yeah.
You have to weigh the pros and cons of that date.
Yeah, that was the first thing I thought of.
Because it is a post-reval date of
Yeah.
appraisal.
So if any proposed adjustment was recommended, we would not be out of line with what we've done. I mean, we would be okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a question. The revaluation's gonna take place when?
Next year?
Next year?
Effective 1/1/21.
So at that time, the
At that
values
time-
could maybe change again,
At that time, values
a little bit.
wipe clean and they go based on the new schedule, so,
So it's just like 1 year and,
right,
so whatever our decision here is still
stands for this year only.
just for this year only?
Now, some of the attributes will be carried forward to take that. into
Yeah, I mean, if
consideration,
you,
right?
yeah,
If you get us directions on how to handle the characteristics, we would typically roll that.
Yeah.
The underlying base rates are obviously.
or they get access to their property.
Sure, sure.
or they
If the
sell the property.
characteristics, the physical characteristics change, we'd obviously take that into account.
How does the county take into effect the 3 acres selling for 600?
Honestly.
I mean, I'm just confused.
We do not use the DOT's takings values.
For anything,
our-
in the reevaluation,
No, because that happened long enough ago. For the reval, we'll look at the last couple of years, heavily in 19.
that's on the,
Well,
okay, I'm listening.
we have guidelines, what we consider a valid sale that are given to us by the
Yeah.
Department of Revenue. One of those is any government sale, because some, you know, they do not necessarily reflect market value. It's just the cold reality. So, no, any takings by the government, any purchases by the government are not included in
I know y'all don't do it, but you know, when they take the land, for example, don't they give a value to that based on what it's gonna be in the future after it's being used, or not at all? It's just
My
ballpark
understanding
figure,
is, you know,
600.
In this situation, that 3 acres was probably, or that 600,000 was probably not just strictly the 3 acres. It was a diminution of the value of the remaining land as well, the inability and access, the inability to live in that property. So I don't think it was strictly that divided by 3 acres is the rate per acre.
Yeah.
Also
Yeah.
how it impacted the remainder of the land.
Yep, and that's correct. I was gonna follow up with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want the 3 acres at 600,000+ because it was taken into effect that we were damaged and there was more beyond.
But what was the whole value of the 15 acres before that? I mean, are we,
It's gonna be well less than 650,000.
it's gonna be a little bit less? Did you?
It's gonna be well less.
It'd be significantly less. They were compensated for the land plus damages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just was wondering what the county's total tax value on the 15 before. I would assume maybe 15,000 an acre or something at that time, 10?
Honestly, I can't.
He's
Do
calculating.
we have a?
That's like closer to 10.
And our appraisal roughly, and I don't have it with me, but it was roughly right at 50 an acre for the whole property.
So when you talk to people about, doing that, getting access, were they asking for so much money, or I'm confused? It seems like that would be something a neighbor would do.
He's at a point, the owner, he doesn't want to take anything away from his acreage if he's planning to sell it.
Okay.
I mean, we would love to have access and
Yeah,
have it valued back at
80,
whatever it was for having access.
Yeah.
I mean, if it,
I understand.
So what you're saying, Mark, is for 3 acres, how did they come up with 600,000?
That's government.
I mean, that's got nothing to do with nothing, but
I don't know.
that's
It
not a
was,
bit.
The
Some of that's
3 acres plus the damages of making their other property useless.
But that's why I'm trying to find out how much the whole 15 acres was before the damage took place based on the valuation of our
That's
county.
a pretty good deal.
Brent said it was right around 283,000.
It was 283 for the whole 15, house, everything,
Yeah.
pond, okay.
And you did ask what the rate we were charging per acre in that area.
Yes.
The base rate
Before all,
before any adjustments is about 78.20 an acre.
I'm sorry,
About $7,820.
$7,800.
Per acre.
Per acre.
Per acre.
All right,
Before we made any adjustments.
okay.
And they knocked 25% off for no access on that.
Yeah, I did hear that part.
All right, any more questions? Ray, Dutch, Mike? All right.
I don't have any questions. I reckon just a thought, is, with the information that he's got in the appraisal, one thought would, and I'm not saying this is where I am, but a thought would be to use that number plus the value on the improvements, which would put it around 65.
So you're gonna take the land value from what he provides,
Yeah,
and then you're gonna take the county's value on the building.
yeah, because
At
that's not
11,000.
being taken into consideration with what Integra did in their appraisal. I like the fact that he has the only question I had was about the date on the appraisal, but I feel like he got good evidence in that
Mhm.
appraisal.
And like Mark said earlier, in another year, this whole thing's gonna change, possibly anyway.
Yeah.
Correct.
Well, the value is gonna change.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
and,
Sure.
And then
Okay.
if Mr. Thomas gets access, that changes the whole ballgame too.
Okay, we'll find out. All right.
y'all have any additional?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, please, Robin.
what I'll need when we get ready to vote finally is, I'll need a vote on each parcel. if I'm hearing what y'all are saying.
Yeah, I hadn't put that in the form of a motion yet, that was just a
Okay.
thought I wanted to put out there.
Well,
to the other
He's
board
just seeing if it's gonna run. That's all.
Right,
That's what you
but-
do in the deliberation, yeah.
Even though we're talking about these three parcels together,
They gotta be.
when you get
voted.
ready to vote, I'll need a vote on the first parcel, and then a vote on the second parcel, and the vote on a third parcel.
Okay,
So that we have, because I can't just have, well, $65,000 for three parcels.
we have to tell you how much on each parcel.
Yes, please.
So how much, Robin, how much land is on each parcel?
65,000 divided by 12 is what, 58?
No, she's talking, we gotta find out, she wants us to vote on each parcel.
I
I
think
can,
they
I
did
can
some
get that for
ciphering.
you.
So on 002
There you go.
A, that has 2.2720 acres.
2.270?
And we, after the reduction, we had 14,500 on that parcel.
So you,
To facilitate the map, I think I hear you're coming to, if we took the state's value and applied it to the acreage remaining, it was $4,488 an acre.
so you've already got a value for each parcel, that Robin?
Well, I'm just saying, if we took that land.
That $54,000 and divided up into 12 and 2 acres here, 7 acres there and all that. So when the county looks at it as 3 separate parcels, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
That kind of affects, 2 acres in land value, doesn't it?
It
If you had a
would,
parcel too.
I'm just saying, if the goal I'm hearing,
Yes,
I think you're leaning towards, if you ordered us to value it
do it that way.
$488 an acre, I think we could facilitate what I think you're asking us to do.
Yep,
That would be my thought, I'm not saying get exactly on the number, but yeah, that would help explain.
So
All right.
we could do a plus or a minus, okay.
Yeah.
If-
Maybe.
If the appraisal staff is fine, I had a note on my paperwork to make sure that you guys voted it on each parcel separately.
yes, ma'am.
Right,
So I'm just going by the highlighted note on my paperwork.
she is keeping us straight.
So could you give us,
Brent
for
can do it, then we're good.
So
for
we're going to see-
2002A, what's the value out of the 54? What do you got?
So for just the 002A,
Yeah, we need it for all three of them.
They're gonna, if I understand, y'all gonna do the math, right? If we approve or agree on, you're gonna take the acreage times the amount of per acre value and do the math yourself? Is that what I hear you saying?
We can do it right now and get you a number.
it's approximately $10,197. We're at 14,500 currently.
Are you confusing me?
Doing the 54,550 for
Yeah, I
their appraisal and taking their rate and timesing that by the 2.2720 acres just for 002A,
Mhm.
it would put a value of approximately $10,197
On the one
It's-
parcel.
on just
Instead of
that
the-
one parcel.
And you're saying it's worth 14, what'd you say?
We currently have 14,500.
Okay.
So that's a difference of about $4,000, $3,200.
Go ahead and calculate all three, Brent.
Got the ink pen,
You got it.
This one didn't either.
You
The
got it.
red pens won't work.
So for the next parcel ending in 006, the other parcel that does not have the structure on it, it has 1.5390 acres. And using their value for the land, it would be about $6,907 for that parcel. And currently, what we have, not using theirs, is $9,800.
I don't know.
And for the last parcel ending in
then the improvements y'all had on there was 11,000 and some change.
$11,600.
Make a motion.
And 6.
Make a motion, I'll say.
Okay.
I hate to do this to y'all. What was the first one on 2A?
It was 10,190
So,
for the
10.
appraisal and 14,500 for the county.
Okay, I needed the DOT. I got it,
Okay,
thanks.
okay.
That's what I needed. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir, Mr. Mark.
this is really difficult, but, the fact that they've been compensated by the state at $600,000, the fact that the county has, what, 84 total, because y'all have already done the 25% off, y'all have already made the house a barn, that, you know, I don't know why we can't just go with the county's approval. I'm gonna make a motion for 84, what the county already has on it.
84.
After all those deductions you've done, you've changed it to now just 84,000 what?
$800.
But at this time, in my motion, I'm gonna have to say, she's gonna wanna know each parcel, right?
And I have that information.
You have that information?
Yeah, your
Okay.
motion is fine.
Okay, I make
Mr.
that motion.
Ashcraft.
Second.
Second. Any comments? All in favor?
All right.
I still go with that, yeah.
Like sign no?
Yeah.
Okay,
It
All right.
passed, did I miss anything? I was looking down.
beg your pardon?
It passed?
It passed.
Yeah, county's value of 84.
Okay. All right, Mr. Chairman, that wraps up today's session.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Thomas, for coming. Do I hear a motion we adjourn?
Make a motion, we adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Second?
I'll second.